Hi, this is the first early spring garden tour of my still very unpolished garden. We start at the built-in planters and the garden bed that runs along the path next to our parking area. Some of the bushes are still asleep, but they seem to be doing well. Others are small, lanky, or a little unhealthy and will need trimming. But the heath bushes are already starting to show a hint of color. These bushes grow on the small slope that leads up to our main door along the front side of the house. Right now, the plants are still wearing their winter forms: dull browns, grays, and faded greens. Not many have started to wake up and push out fresh growth yet. The heathers still need to be cut back and cleared of their old, dry flowers. The slopes, mostly filled with spiky bushes, outline the house on three sides. These garden beds were already here when we arrived, and last year they were the main thing I focused on maintaining. Following the path, we come to the garden bed next to the garage. This is where I planted most of the early spring flowers last year. Behind the garage, things are still a bit messy. There are leftover tiles, a rusty wheelbarrow, and a rather impressive pile of sticks. The slope behind the garage is planted with a few conifer bushes. Farther along the fence, there's a wooden structure that serves as our compost box, and right next to it grows a plum bush, a tiny cherry tree, and another diminutive plum. Beyond the fence stretches a small field. I want to plant flowers and shrubs there for the wildlife that often wanders through, offering a bit more shelter and perhaps some tastier treats. The black tilt covers an area where there grows a weed I'm allergic to, so we're trying to get rid of it through the winter. The sandy patch next to the stairs used to be where the pool was set up. However, if we ever find the time and funds, I would love to turn this spot into a little fire pit area. Up the stairs, there's a terrace with a covered pergola. It's a wonderful place to sit outside with a cup of coffee, even when the weather isn't perfect. The garden ends with two conifer trees and a small strip of lawn behind the house. Yeah, the lawn. Well, the lawn is the main part of the garden right now. As you can see, it's quite unmaintained and needs a lot of work. creeping ground ivy has woven itself through the grass and is trying very hard to take over. The lawn needs a lot of combing with rakes, so I got to it. The first rake didn't work very well for pulling out the dead grass and moss. But after switching to a head with narrower teeth, the job started going much more smoothly. One day, when the garden finally becomes what I imagine it could be, I would like to replace much of this lawn with flower beds, bushes, and vegetable patches, stone paths winding through them, and plants growing in different heights and layers. For now, it's all about the small steps. Little pieces of maintenance that make the plants happier and the garden just a bit more beautiful. Yeah, so small steps, like going back to the front of the house and cutting back the heathers I mentioned earlier. Their dry, ghostly flowers were removed, giving the old plants a chance to spring back to life this year. A wheelbarrow full of job well done.